And Alaska, a name that conjures images of a land both breathtaking and brutal, where the wild remains untamed and the elements reign supreme. Here the landscape is a tapestry of extremes. Towering mountains rise abruptly from the sea, glaciers carve their way through ancient valleys, and endless forests stretch beyond the horizon. Yet, beneath this stunning surface, Alaska hides a world of peril. The wilderness is not merely wild, it is merciless. The sea, in particular, is a force to be reckoned with, its moods shifting from serene to savage in the blink of an eye. The cold is ever present, seeping into bone and spirit alike. In this remote expanse, when disaster strikes, help is often hours or even days away. The authorities, faced with the vastness and hostility of the terrain, are forced to make grim assumptions when people vanish. The official explanations are as cold as the waters themselves, sudden storms, treacherous currents, or simple misfortune, but sometimes the evidence left behind is as chilling as the wind that sweeps across the tundra. An upturned boat abandoned on a muddy bank where a powerful river meets the sea. No sign of struggle, no footprints leading away, just silence and the relentless sound of water against hull. Life jackets untouched. The very tools meant to save lives, left behind as if forgotten in a moment of panic, or perhaps never reached at all. Expensive fishing rods gone, as if something or someone had taken them, along with those who wielded them, into the depths below. The water here is not just cold, it is a vault, swallowing secrets whole. Over the years, the pattern repeats. Boats found adrift or beached, their occupants vanished. The sea, calm and glassy, offers no clues. The inlets, shrouded in mist, keep their silence. Stories circulate in the villages, whispers of the North's appetite for those who dare to challenge it. Some dismiss these tales as superstition, but the land itself seems to echo with unanswered questions. The ocean is a living thing here, ancient and inscrutable. Its depths are home to creatures as old as time, and its currents can erase all trace of human presence in moments. The search for answers is a journey into the unknown. The clues are few, scattered like driftwood along the shore, and the truth is as elusive as the creatures that swim beneath the ice. The missing men were drawn here by the promise of bounty, by the lure of fish that grow larger and stronger in these frigid waters than almost anywhere else on Earth. Alaska's fish are legendary, halibut the size of doors, salmon that leap like silver arrows. But, in these waters, the line between hunter and hunted is thin. Could something beneath the surface be responsible for these disappearances? Is there a force, natural or otherwise, that claims those who venture too far into the North's domain? The answers lie hidden in the cold, dark waters, where the currents twist and the mysteries of the North remain for now unsolved. The search for Alaska's cold water killer has only just begun. The Copper River, a colossal artery of glacial meltwater, carves its way through the wilds of Alaska. Its waters, thick with silt and minerals, are a swirling, opaque mystery, concealing the drama that unfolds beneath the surface. Here, in these cold, fast-flowing currents, the king salmon, also known as Chinook, reigns supreme. These fish are the largest of all Pacific salmon, and their life cycle is a marvel of endurance and adaptation. Born in the gravel beds of freshwater streams, king salmon spend their early years hidden from predators, feeding on aquatic insects and tiny crustaceans. As they grow, they undergo a remarkable transformation, adapting their bodies for the long journey to the sea. Once they reach the ocean, Chinook salmon embark on a years-long odyssey, traveling thousands of miles through the North Pacific. They feed voraciously, growing to astonishing sizes, some exceeding 5 feet in length and tipping the scales at over 100 pounds. The king salmon's return to its natal river is a feat of navigation that has baffled scientists for generations. Guided by an acute sense of smell, they retrace their path across vast distances, braving predators, commercial fishing nets, and the relentless pull of the tides. As they re-enter the copper river, their bodies change again, their colours darken, their jaws hook, and their muscles swell with the energy needed to battle the current. The river becomes a gauntlet, icy, powerful, and unforgiving. The king salmon's journey upstream is a test of raw power. They leap waterfalls, surge through rapids, and push against the full force of the river. Every muscle strains as they fight for every inch, driven by an ancient instinct to spawn. Ecologically, the king salmon is a keystone species. Their annual migration brings a surge of nutrients from the ocean deep into the heart of the Alaskan wilderness. When they die after spawning, their bodies feed eagles, bears, wolves, and even the forests themselves, enriching the land with marine minerals. The Chinook's presence has shaped the culture and history of Alaska for millennia. Indigenous peoples revered the king salmon, weaving its image into art, legend, and ceremony. The fish's abundance once sustained entire villages, and its scarcity could spell hardship. But the king salmon's power is not just a matter of size. Their will to survive is legendary. Stories abound of salmon dragging heavy logs downstream or breaking free from the jaws of bears. Even a mid-sized Chinook can outmatch most river obstacles, using its tail like a battering ram against the current. The river itself is a formidable adversary. Its icy temperatures and unpredictable surges test the limits of any creature that enters. For the king salmon, every moment is a struggle against the elements, against exhaustion, and against time. In rare, dramatic moments, the power of these fish is on full display. There are tales of king salmon impaling themselves on submerged branches, or leaping so high that they clear entire boulders. Their strength is not just a spectacle, it is a necessity for survival. The king salmon's journey is perilous, and not all survive. But those that do leave behind a legacy written in the river's stones and the DNA of future generations. Their epic migration is a story of resilience, adaptation, and the relentless drive of life itself. To witness the mighty king salmon in its element is to glimpse the raw, untamed heart of Alaska, a world where survival is earned and every victory is hard fought against the current. After landing that impressive king salmon, the weight of the mystery pressed in on me, heavier than the fish itself. The theory that a single monstrous salmon could be responsible for the disappearance seemed at first almost believable. The raw, untamed power of these fish is legendary, enough to snap rods, shatter lines, and perhaps drag a person into the icy current. I could easily imagine a larger specimen, perhaps weighing 80 or 90 pounds, yanking an unsuspecting fisherman right out of a small boat. In the chaos, a tangled line could become a deadly snare, and the shock of the glacial water would paralyze even the strongest swimmer. The river's current, relentless and cold, would do the rest. But as I sifted through the evidence, doubts crept in. The case that brought me here involved not one but two missing men. The king salmon theory, so compelling in its simplicity, began to unravel under scrutiny. Could a single fish, no matter how powerful, truly account for the disappearance of two experienced fishermen? It would require an extraordinary set of circumstances for one fish to overpower two people in a boat. Even if chaos reigned, it's likely that one would remain to help, or at least raise the alarm. The idea of a single salmon causing both to vanish seemed improbable. Then there was the river itself. The Copper River, while wide and powerful, is relatively shallow in many places. If two people had drowned, their bodies would likely have washed ashore, tangled in driftwood or caught on the muddy banks. The river, for all its dangers, rarely keeps its secrets for long. Even with scavengers, grizzly bears, ravens, foxes patrolling the banks, it's rare for all traces to vanish. Bones, clothing, or gear usually surface, carried by the current or left behind by the tide. Yet here there was nothing. The riverbank was silent, undisturbed, as if the men had never been there at all. The river is a dangerous place, but it usually gives up its dead. The absence of any remains was a puzzle that refused to fit the king salmon theory. The boat was found far from the suspected site of the accident, stranded on a mud bank where the river meets the sea. It could have drifted for miles, carried by the current, but the lack of damage or signs of struggle raised more questions than answers. I began to consider other possibilities. Perhaps the men had ventured beyond the river, out into the coastal inlets where the water deepens and the rules change. Out there the dangers multiply, sudden storms, hidden shoals, and predators far larger than any salmon. The king salmon is a powerful suspect, but it doesn't fit all the facts. The ocean, vast and mysterious, holds secrets the river never could. Rogue waves, whirlpools, or even the silent approach of a marine predator. Each is a theory with its own dark logic. I considered the possibility of foul play, of sabotage, or of a mechanical failure that left the men stranded and vulnerable, but with no evidence these ideas remained shadows, flickering at the edge of reason. The more I investigated, the more the king salmon theory seemed like a convenient answer to an inconvenient mystery. The truth, I suspected, lay elsewhere, out in the deep, cold waters where the river meets the sea, and where the unknown waits in silence. In the end, the river's silence was its own answer. The king salmon, for all its might, was not the true culprit. The real danger, I realized, was something far more elusive, something that left no trace, no witness, and no easy explanation. The investigation was far from over. The river had not given up its dead, and neither would I. My search would continue, following the current out to sea where the true answer waited, hidden beneath the waves in the cold, endless dark. With the river theory looking less likely, my attention turned to the wild, untamed coast of Alaska, a place where the ocean's secrets run deep and the shadows beneath the surface are long and mysterious. Here, in the labyrinth of fjords and inlets, something powerful lurks just out of sight. In these cold green waters, the salmon shark reigns as an apex predator. Its presence is felt even when it is unseen, a living shadow gliding silently through the depths. The salmon shark is a master of stealth, its slate-grey back blending perfectly with the dim light filtering down from above. This formidable hunter is built for speed and power. With a torpedo-shaped body, muscular tail, and a mouth lined with razor-sharp teeth, the salmon shark is perfectly adapted for ambush. It can accelerate with explosive force, reaching bursts of up to 50 miles per hour as it chases down its prey. Some unconfirmed reports suggest these sharks can grow to over 14 feet in length, their massive forms casting an ominous shadow over the ocean floor. Their eyes, dark and unblinking, are adapted to the low light of the northern seas, allowing them to track movement with uncanny precision. What truly sets the salmon shark apart is its remarkable biology. Unlike most fish, it is warm-blooded. A specialized heat exchange system called the rete mirabile allows it to maintain a core body temperature up to 15 degrees Celsius, warmer than the frigid water around it. This adaptation gives the salmon shark a unique edge, keeping its muscles warm and ready for sudden, high-speed pursuits. The salmon shark's hunting style is a spectacle of raw power and agility. It stalks schools of salmon with patience, then explodes from the depths in a blur of motion, sometimes breaching the surface in a dramatic leap. These attacks are swift and decisive, leaving little chance for escape. Yet the salmon shark is not always a creature of violence. At times it can be seen gliding serenely near the surface, its movements slow and almost graceful. Scientists believe this is a resting behavior, a rare moment of calm in an otherwise relentless life. But when the hunt begins, everything changes. The sharks become aggressive, unpredictable, and highly social. During feeding frenzies, they work together, slashing through schools of salmon with astonishing coordination. Their senses are finely tuned, able to detect the faintest electrical signals and the subtlest vibrations in the water. The salmon shark's world is one of constant motion and danger. It must always be alert, for even as an apex predator it faces competition from orcas and larger sharks. Its life is a delicate balance between energy conservation and explosive action, a dance of survival in the icy Alaskan Sea. The salmon shark's shadow is more than a metaphor. It is a living presence, a reminder of the wildness that still exists in Alaska's waters. Every ripple on the surface, every sudden movement below could be the sign of this remarkable predator, silent, unseen, and always watching. The image of the salmon shark as a relentless killer has haunted the waters of Alaska for decades, but to truly understand their role, I needed to observe them not just at rest, but in the throes of the hunt, where their instincts and behaviors are laid bare. Marine biologist Dr. Evelyn Carter, who has spent years studying salmon shark populations in the North Pacific, notes that these sharks are highly responsive to the presence of food, displaying bursts of aggression that are often misinterpreted as indiscriminate violence. In fact, research teams have documented salmon sharks biting at underwater cameras and research equipment, not out of malice but as a way to investigate unfamiliar objects in their environment. Their curiosity is often mistaken for hostility. During feeding, their behavior intensifies. Competition for food among sharks can lead to frenzied displays, with powerful lunges and rapid movements. This spectacle, while dramatic, is a natural part of their ecological role as apex fish predators. Scientific studies have shown that the scent of blood and the vibrations of a struggling fish can trigger a feeding response in salmon sharks. This is a highly specialized adaptation, allowing them to efficiently locate and capture their prey in the vast, cold waters. In these moments of chaos, it's easy to imagine a shark mistaking something else for food. But decades of observation and data collection tell a different story. To test the theory that salmon sharks might attack anything in a feeding frenzy, researchers have conducted controlled experiments introducing various objects and scents into the water to observe the shark's reactions. When herring was introduced, the shark's behavior shifted instantly. Their bodies tensed, their movements became more purposeful, and their focus narrowed to the fish. The transformation was remarkable. From slow, deliberate circling, they became swift, precise hunters, accelerating with astonishing speed. Their jaws snapped shut on the bait with a force measured at over 600 pounds per square inch, enough to crush bone and tear through flesh in an instant. This was not mindless aggression, but a calculated, evolved response honed by millions of years of predation. In the midst of the frenzy, the sharks displayed remarkable precision. They targeted only the fish, ignoring debris and other non-food items introduced by researchers. Dr. Carter's team found that even when presented with objects that mimicked the size and movement of prey, the sharks rarely made mistakes. Their senses, especially their ability to detect electrical signals, allowed them to distinguish living prey from everything else. Occasionally a shark would investigate a foreign object, nudging it with its snout or giving it a tentative bite. But these interactions were brief and non-lethal, a testament to their intelligence and selectivity. As the feeding continued, the sharks remained focused on the herring, ignoring other fish species and non-food items entirely. Their precision was astonishing, grabbing herring just inches from the research cameras, yet never striking the equipment itself unless it was coated in fish oil or blood. On rare occasions, a shark would bump or bite a camera, but only when it was covered in the scent of prey. These incidents were the exception, not the rule. Most remarkable of all was what happened after the frenzy subsided. The sharks returned to a state of calm, gliding through the water with no sign of agitation or aggression. Not once did any of the sharks attack or even approach non-prey items with aggression, even in the height of their excitement. The evidence was clear. Salmon sharks are highly selective feeders, able to distinguish with remarkable accuracy between prey and non-prey. Even in the most intense feeding frenzies, they ignored everything but the fish, their senses guiding them unerringly to their true target. Far from being indiscriminate killers, salmon sharks are specialized hunters, perfectly adapted to their environment. Despite their fearsome appearance and close relation to the great white, their evolutionary path has made them experts at hunting fish, not mammals. Their entire existence is focused on the pursuit of salmon and other fish, using speed, power, and acute senses to dominate their prey. Multiple peer-reviewed studies confirm that salmon sharks display a clear ability to differentiate between their prey and anything else in the water, including large objects and marine mammals. While accidental bites are always a remote possibility with any large predator, the scientific consensus is that deliberate attacks on non-prey are extraordinarily rare. In fact, there are no confirmed cases of salmon sharks attacking humans in Alaska's waters. The myth simply isn't supported by the evidence. With the shark myth debunked, the mystery of Alaska's deadly waters remained unsolved. The search for the true cold water killer would have to continue, leading to even larger and more elusive suspects lurking in the depths. My investigation took another turn when I heard stories about a different kind of giant. This creature was not a shark, but a fish of immense size and power that lurks on the seabed, the Pacific halibut. The Pacific halibut, a flat fish of the family Pleuronectidae, is a master of camouflage, blending seamlessly with the ocean floor. With both eyes on one side of its body, it lies in wait, partially buried in the sand, ready to ambush unsuspecting prey. When a potential meal swims by, the halibut strikes with lightning speed, its powerful jaws snapping shut on its prey. Equipped with sharp teeth and a voracious appetite, the halibut is a formidable predator in its underwater realm. These giants can be found in the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the North Pacific, from the Bering Sea to the Gulf of Alaska. They thrive in the deep, where strong currents and abundant food sources support their massive size. Their diet consists of a variety of bottom-dwelling creatures, including crabs, octopuses, and smaller fish. The halibut's powerful tail fin allows it to swim with surprising speed and agility, despite its size. Its tough, scale-covered skin provides protection against predators and the harsh ocean environment. The halibut's ability to remain motionless for long periods makes it an efficient ambush predator. Its lateral line, a sensory organ running along its body, detects vibrations and movements in the water, aiding in hunting. The halibut's eyes can move independently, giving it a wide field of vision to spot potential threats and prey. These fish can grow to astonishing sizes, with some individuals reaching lengths of over 8 feet and weights approaching 500 pounds. They are true giants of the deep, commanding respect and caution from those who encounter them. The sheer strength of a halibut is enough to break bones and destroy equipment, making them a dangerous catch. When hooked, a halibut can thrash violently, using its powerful tail to create chaos and potentially injure those nearby. The danger they pose is well known among fishermen, who have developed specific techniques to handle these formidable fish. Traditional halibut hooks, ingeniously designed by native Alaskans, were crafted to catch medium-sized fish while avoiding the truly massive ones. This ancient wisdom spoke volumes about the halibut's deadly potential. The Pacific halibut remains one of the ocean's most impressive and dangerous inhabitants, a true testament to the power and mystery of the deep sea. The Pacific halibut is not a passive bottom dweller. Beneath the cold, shadowy waters of Alaska, it is a master of deception and patience, a living relic honed by millions of years of evolution. Its flat, camouflaged body allows it to vanish into the ocean floor, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The halibut is an ambush predator with a voracious appetite, relying on stealth and explosive power. Their huge mouths can swallow a wide variety of prey, from small fish to surprisingly large animals. Scientific studies have revealed the halibut's diet is as diverse as it is brutal. Examinations of their stomach contents have revealed salmon, squid, crabs, and even seagulls. Marine biologists have documented these findings, noting the halibut's adaptability and opportunistic feeding behavior. There are even credible reports of seals being found inside large halibut. Such discoveries have shocked researchers, challenging assumptions about the limits of this predator's capabilities. This tells us they are top predators, capable of hunting large and powerful animals. In the cold, nutrient-rich waters, the halibut reigns supreme, its presence shaping the ecosystem around it. They often move into shallower coastal waters and river mouths to feed, exploiting the seasonal abundance of prey. These migrations are tracked by scientists using acoustic tags, revealing the halibut's complex and far-reaching hunting grounds. In these environments, the halibut's predatory instincts are on full display. It is here in the intersection of river and sea that the halibut's reputation as a credible killer is truly earned. The halibut's anatomy is built for sudden, overwhelming force. Its broad, muscular tail delivers explosive bursts of speed, while its jaws clamp down with crushing power. Rows of sharp teeth line its mouth, designed to seize and hold struggling prey. Once caught, few creatures escape the halibut's grip. The halibut's hunting strategy is both efficient and ruthless. It drags its victims into deeper water, consuming them whole or tearing them apart with relentless force. In the cold, dark depths, the halibut is a silent, ever-present threat. Its ability to remain unseen until the moment of attack makes it one of the ocean's most effective killers. Some individuals grow to extraordinary sizes, 3, even 400 pounds, dwarfing most other marine predators in these waters. The largest halibut are true giants, their power and mass unmatched. When threatened or hooked, a massive halibut can unleash chaos, thrashing with enough force to shatter bones or destroy anything in its path. Marine researchers have documented these violent displays, warning of the dangers posed by such powerful animals. The halibut's struggle for survival is relentless, its instincts sharpened by the harsh environment it inhabits. Every movement is calculated, every attack a testament to its evolutionary success. In the icy, unforgiving waters of Alaska, the Pacific halibut is a credible cold-water killer, an apex predator whose legend is written in the silence of the deep. While a monstrous halibut might seem the most likely culprit for a violent disappearance, the true dangers of Alaska are far more insidious, woven into the very fabric of its wild landscape. The environment itself is a relentless adversary, a silent force that claims lives year after year, often without a trace. The water here is not just cold, it is lethally cold. Even the briefest immersion in these icy rivers and seas can trigger an immediate cold shock response. The body's instinctive gasp for air can become a fatal inhalation of water, and within moments, muscles seize, coordination vanishes, and hypothermia begins its deadly work. In these conditions, survival is measured in minutes, not hours. The cold strips away strength and will, leaving even the strongest creatures helpless against the elements. The rivers, fed by melting snow and ancient glaciers, surge with a power that belies their tranquil surface. These rivers are often deceptively shallow, yet their currents are strong enough to uproot trees and sweep away boulders. Even knee-deep water can become a deadly trap, its force more than enough to topple the unwary. During the spring thaw, the rivers transform into raging torrents choked with debris and hidden dangers. The glacial silt suspended in the water turns it opaque, concealing deep holes, jagged rocks, and submerged logs. A single misstep on a slick stone can send any creature tumbling into the current where the river's hidden hazards await. The relentless flow grinds down everything in its path, erasing all evidence of what it claims. But the water is not the only threat. The land itself is alive with peril. Grizzly bears, drawn to the rivers by the promise of salmon, leave their massive tracks in the mud. These apex predators are unpredictable, their presence a constant reminder that the wild is ruled by its own laws. During the salmon run, the riverbanks become arenas of raw power, as grizzlies compete for their share of the bounty. Their focus may be on the fish, but their senses are sharp, and their reactions swift. A sudden movement, a strange scent, and the balance can shift from indifference to aggression in an instant. A sow with cubs is especially dangerous, her protective instincts turning the riverbank into a zone of heightened risk. Even the scent of fresh fish can draw unwanted attention, and the wild's unwritten rules demand respect and distance. Beyond the bears, the wilderness is filled with other unseen threats. Wolves prowl the forests, ravens and foxes scavenge the riverbanks, and the dense undergrowth hides pitfalls and sudden drops. The weather itself can turn treacherous without warning, fog rolling in to erase all sense of direction, storms lashing the land with wind and rain. In this vast, untamed expanse, a single miscalculation can have fatal consequences. A slip into the river, a sudden encounter with a predator, or even a simple change in the weather can spell disaster. Often the only traces left behind are scattered gear, a trail in the mud, or nothing at all, lost to the current or claimed by scavengers. The idea of a sea monster is compelling, but the truth is that Alaska's wilderness is the greatest monster of all. Its dangers are many, its perils unseen, and its power absolute. Here, survival demands constant vigilance, deep respect, and an understanding that the wild is always watching, always waiting. Alaska's waters are a realm of extremes, where icy rivers carve through ancient forests and the sea stretches endlessly, cold and mysterious, beneath a sky that never seems to end. In this wild, untamed environment, the true cold water killer is not a storm or a beast from legend, but a creature shaped by millennia of evolution, a master of the deep, perfectly adapted to the harshest conditions on Earth. The Pacific halibut, Hippoglossus stenolepis, is a giant among fish. It haunts the frigid depths of the North Pacific, thriving where few others can survive. These waters, often just above freezing, are rich in oxygen and nutrients, supporting a food web as ancient as the land itself. The halibut's body is a marvel of adaptation, broad, flat, and camouflaged against the ocean floor. Its eyes, both on one side of its head, scan for prey while it lies motionless, blending perfectly with the sand and gravel. These titans can grow to over 8 feet in length and weigh more than 500 pounds. They are apex predators, feeding on herring, cod, octopus, and even smaller halibut. Their jaws are lined with sharp teeth, and their bite is powerful enough to crush bone. While the salmon shark prowls these waters, it is the halibut that dominates the benthic world. Unlike the shark, the halibut is patient, lurking in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For centuries, indigenous peoples of Alaska respected the halibut as both a vital food source and a force of nature. Legends tell of fish so large they could overturn canoes, and stories of the fish that drags men to the bottom have echoed through generations. The halibut's immense strength is not just myth. When threatened or hooked, it can unleash explosive bursts of energy, thrashing with enough force to shatter wood and send shockwaves through the water. In the cold, dense waters of Alaska, a struggle with a halibut is a battle against the elements themselves. The ocean is unforgiving, and the halibut's domain is a place where mistakes are rarely forgiven. The environment amplifies every danger. The water's temperature can sap the strength from any living thing in minutes, and the currents are swift and unpredictable, shaped by tides that have sculpted this land for thousands of years. Even with modern technology, the halibut remains a formidable adversary. Sonar and GPS may reveal its presence, but nothing can prepare you for the raw power of this ancient predator. The halibut's story is written in the currents and the cold, in the silent depths where sunlight fades and only the strongest survive. It is a living relic of the Ice Age, a reminder of a time when giants ruled the sea. The greatest danger in Alaska's waters is not always the storm you see coming, but the ancient force that waits below, a force that has shaped the fate of fishermen and the history of this land for generations. The Pacific halibut is Alaska's true cold water killer, a silent, powerful presence in the deep, a creature that commands respect and a living testament to the wild, untamable spirit of the North. Beneath the icy surface of Alaska's seas, a silent transformation is underway, one that threatens to rewrite the ancient balance of predator and prey. Climate change, once a distant warning, is now an undeniable force, subtly but relentlessly altering the fate of every creature that calls these frigid waters home. As ocean temperatures rise, even by a few degrees, the very fabric of the marine ecosystem begins to unravel. Cold-adapted giants like the Pacific halibut face mounting challenges. Warmer currents disrupt their spawning cycles, shifting the timing and locations where new generations are born. Once reliable nurseries in the continental shelf are becoming less hospitable, forcing young halibut to search farther for safe grounds and increasing their vulnerability to predation. But it's not just the halibut that feel the change. Key prey species, herring, capelin, and juvenile salmon, are moving northward seeking cooler refuges. This migration strains the food web, leaving predators in the southern reaches with fewer meals and disrupting the rhythm of life that has persisted for millennia. The mighty king salmon, already threatened by overfishing and habitat loss, now faces additional pressure as warming rivers and oceanic hotspots reduce their survival rates. Meanwhile, new contenders arrive. Species once rare in these cold waters, such as Pacific cod and even certain squid, are expanding their range northward, competing with native predators for limited resources. The salmon shark and orca, apex hunters finely tuned to the old order, must adapt their hunting strategies or risk decline. The chemistry of the ocean itself is shifting. Increased carbon dioxide levels cause acidification, weakening the shells of vital invertebrates, crab, shrimp and plankton, that form the base of the food web. As these populations dwindle, the effects ripple upward, threatening the survival of larger fish and the predators that depend on them. Yet the greatest changes are often invisible. Subtle shifts in current patterns disrupt the flow of nutrients, leading to less productive waters and fewer plankton blooms. This scarcity echoes through every layer of the ecosystem, leaving even the most powerful predators at the mercy of forces beyond their control. In this new era, Alaska's marine giants stand at a crossroads. Their future depends not only on their strength and cunning, but on their ability to adapt to a world transformed by climate. The story of the Pacific halibut, the king salmon, and the unseen hunters of the deep is no longer just a tale of survival in the cold. It is a struggle against a changing planet, where the outcome remains uncertain and the stakes have never been higher. Far below the reach of sunlight, where the pressure would crush a submarine and the water is as black as midnight, lies an Alaska few have ever imagined, a realm ruled by the mysterious deep-sea creatures that dwell in the abyss. In these frigid depths, every life form is a marvel of adaptation, evolved over millennia to survive where the rules of the surface world no longer apply. Here, the temperature hovers just above freezing, and food is scarce. Giant Pacific octopuses glide silently along the rocky seafloor, their arms lined with thousands of sensitive suckers capable of detecting the faintest chemical trace of prey. These masters of disguise can change color and texture in an instant, melting into the shadows to ambush crabs and fish, or to vanish from the jaws of larger predators. Nearby, the enigmatic sablefish, nicknamed black cod, drift through the gloom. With oily, energy-rich flesh, they are uniquely suited to the nutrient-poor environment, storing reserves for lean times. Their slow, deliberate movements conserve precious energy, while their keen lateral lines sense the vibrations of swimming prey in the darkness. But the true lords of the deep are the creatures rarely seen. The six-gill shark, an ancient predator unchanged for millions of years, patrols the canyons and drop-offs. Its massive, ghostly form moves with surprising grace, relying on electroreception to detect the faint heartbeats of hidden animals. The six gills' slow metabolism allows it to thrive where food is unpredictable, and its jaw can unhinge to devour prey much larger than itself. Other residents, like the deep-sea grenadier and the elegantly grotesque eelpout, have evolved antifreeze proteins in their blood, preventing deadly ice crystals from forming within their bodies. Many are bioluminescent, generating their own pale light to lure prey, attract mates, or confuse predators in a world where darkness is absolute. These strange denizens are not isolated oddities. They play a critical role in the health of Alaska's marine ecosystem. As scavengers, they recycle nutrients from decaying matter that drifts down from the surface, ensuring nothing is wasted. Predators like the six-gill shark keep populations of smaller fish in check, maintaining the delicate balance of the deep, and when these creatures rise closer to the surface, drawn by shifting currents or seasonal changes, they become prey themselves, linking the hidden world of the abyss with the more familiar life above. Yet the deep sea is not immune to change. As climate shifts alter ocean chemistry and temperature, even these ancient survivors face new threats. Subtle changes in oxygen levels, acidification, and the arrival of invasive species challenge their finely tuned adaptations. Their fates are intertwined with the entire food web, from the tiniest plankton to the largest whales. In the end, Alaska's deep-sea creatures remain some of the most enigmatic and vital players in the unfolding drama of the North Pacific. Their resilience and mystery remind us that the ocean's darkest corners are alive with life, strange, fragile, and essential to the heartbeat of the wild. In the ever-churning world beneath Alaska's icy seas, invisible forces are at work, ocean currents and melting ice shaping the fate of every living thing in their path. These currents, driven by wind, water temperature, and the rotation of the Earth, act as the great conveyor belts of the North Pacific. They transport not only water but also vital nutrients, drifting plankton, and the larvae of countless species, weaving together the intricate fabric of the marine food web. As Arctic and subarctic ice continues to melt at unprecedented rates, the delicate balance of these currents is shifting. Fresh water from melting glaciers and sea ice pours into the ocean, diluting salinity and disrupting the natural flow. The Bering Sea, once locked tight by pack ice for much of the year, now opens earlier and stays open longer. This transformation creates far-reaching consequences. The timing and abundance of phytoplankton blooms, the very foundation of the food chain, are changing. In years past, melting ice released pulses of nutrients at just the right moment, igniting explosions of microscopic life as sunlight returned in spring. Now, with ice retreating sooner and nutrient cycles thrown off kilter, these blooms may arrive too early or too late for the zooplankton that depend on them. This mismatch ripples upward. Less food for tiny copepods and krill means less for small fish, seabirds, and the great whales that migrate thousands of miles to feed in these waters. Predatory fish, like salmon and cod, face a transformed landscape. Warmer currents and altered prey availability force them to shift their ranges, sometimes leaving traditional feeding grounds barren. Meanwhile, new species, some from as far south as California, are making their way into Alaska's waters, drawn by changing temperatures and currents. These arrivals bring competition and disrupt established relationships, adding new layers of complexity to the food web. Even the deep sea is not immune. Changes in surface productivity affect what drifts down to the abyss, altering the feast or famine rhythm that sustains life in the darkness. The six-gill shark, sablefish, and octopus must adapt to new patterns of scarcity and abundance, their survival hinging on the smallest changes in what falls from above. Yet these transformations are not simply stories of loss. Some species will find opportunity in the shifting seas, thriving in new niches and expanding their ranges. The web of life in Alaska's waters is dynamic, constantly evolving in response to the currents of change. In this cold, dynamic world, the melting of ice and the restless movement of water are not just background forces. They are the architects of life itself. Every ripple, every swirl, every drop of fresh water entering the sea carries with it the power to reshape the destinies of creatures from plankton to predators, from the sunlit shallows to the blackest depths. The story of Alaska's oceans is one of constant transformation, written by the invisible hands of current and ice. Beneath Alaska's frigid waves, survival is an art, one perfected over millennia by the region's extraordinary marine life. Here, every creature faces a relentless test, endure the biting cold, unpredictable darkness, and ever-shifting food supply, or perish in the abyss. Take the Pacific sleeper shark, a true phantom of the deep. Moving with ghostly slowness, it conserves precious energy in the near-freezing waters. Its muscles are laced with special proteins that prevent ice crystals from forming, allowing the shark to hunt silently at depths where sunlight never penetrates. Its slow metabolism lets it thrive on infrequent meals, sometimes going weeks between hunts, feasting on whatever the currents deliver. Meanwhile, the giant Pacific octopus has mastered the art of camouflage and patience. Its skin bristles with chromatophores, tiny pigment cells that change color and texture in an instant. This shape-shifting ability allows the octopus to vanish into rocky crevices, evading predators and ambushing prey. When food grows scarce in winter, it slows its metabolism, stretching out reserves until the spring bloom returns. The Arctic cod, a keystone of the northern food web, possesses antifreeze proteins in its blood. These molecular marvels prevent ice from forming inside its tissues, letting the fish swim beneath sea ice where temperatures plunge below zero. Their slender bodies dart among ice floes, feeding on zooplankton and evading seals and seabirds in a never-ending chase for survival. Even tiny copepods, the lifeblood of the cold seas, deploy unique strategies. As winter darkness falls, they descend to deeper, more stable layers, entering a state of suspended animation called diapause. Here they burn fat reserves accumulated during the brief explosive summer blooms. When the sun returns and the ice melts, they rise again, ready to fuel the next cycle of life. Bivalves, such as the resilient Arctic clam, burrow deep into the silty seabed, filtering microscopic food from the water. Their shells close tightly during periods of food scarcity, conserving moisture and energy until conditions improve. Some can live for decades, enduring countless cycles of feast and famine. Even the mighty Steller sea lion, though not venturing to the deepest depths, is shaped by these extremes. With a thick layer of blubber and specialized blood vessels, it can dive deep and withstand icy temperatures, tracking shifting schools of fish as the ocean changes. From the surface to the abyss, Alaska's marine inhabitants are not passive victims of their environment. They are innovators and survivors, each with a unique arsenal of adaptations. Antifreeze blood, camouflage, metabolic slowdowns, and energy reserves are just a sampling of the ingenious strategies forged in the crucible of cold. In this realm, success is measured not by dominance but by flexibility. The ability to adapt, to exploit every fleeting advantage, is what separates the survivors from the lost. And as Alaska's oceans continue to shift, these ancient strategies will be tested as never before, revealing new champions in a world where only the most adaptable endure. As the icy tides of Alaska's seas continue their timeless ebb and flow, the future of this vibrant ecosystem hangs delicately in the balance. The ancient rhythms that have long governed life beneath the ice now face unprecedented challenges, forces that reach far beyond the horizon and threaten to reshape the marine world as we know it. Rising ocean temperatures creep ever northward, nudging species out of their ancestral ranges. The once predictable migrations of herring, cod, and krill are shifting, disrupting the intricate web of predators and prey. Acidifying waters born of excess carbon dioxide silently erode the shells of young clams and snails, weakening the very foundation of the food chain. Even the mighty kelp forests, those underwater jungles that shelter multitudes, are under siege from warming seas, pollution, and invasive species seeking new territory. Yet, amidst these looming threats, the ocean's resilience endures. Some creatures, like the hardy Arctic cod, may find new strongholds farther north, while flexible generalists, such as the Pacific sleeper shark, could exploit novel opportunities as the ecosystem transforms. The dance of adaptation continues, but its tempo is now set by forces both ancient and alarmingly new. In the shadows, unseen perils multiply. Microplastics drift through the currents, infiltrating every layer of life from plankton to top predators. Ghostly chemicals, legacy pollutants and new contaminants alike accumulate in the tissues of fish and mammals, their long-term effects unfolding slowly, almost invisibly. But the story of Alaska's oceans is not one of inevitable loss. Across the seascape, quiet victories emerge. Protected marine areas act as sanctuaries, allowing fragile populations to recover and habitats to regenerate. Conservation strategies, rooted in decades of scientific observation, monitor the pulse of the ecosystem, tracking the health of key species and the subtle shifts in water chemistry and temperature. Even as the world changes, the blueprint for resilience is being rewritten in real time, forged by the lessons of the past and the promise of tomorrow. The future of Alaska's marine realm will be decided not by a single force, but by the ongoing interplay of change and adaptation. With every challenge comes a chance for renewal, a new balance waiting to be discovered beneath the ever-shifting ice. The survival of this extraordinary ecosystem depends on the endurance of its inhabitants, the strength of their connections, and the power of nature's own ingenuity. In the cold heart of the North, the next chapter has only just begun.